This week we discuss Dispatch's Avengers Assemble moment,
how Chimney gets Maddie's metaphorical smoke signal,
and how Buck and Eddie should have their own hostage situation in Season 9.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddie System, a 911 deep dive podcast hosted by three friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no Buddie is left behind.
This episode sponsored by Bonnie and Clyde. Welcome to Dispatch. What's on call this week?
This week we are discussing Season 3, Episode 14, The Taking of Dispatch 911. Written by Nadia Bass-Madden and Andrew Myers. Directed by Marshall Tyler, and the director of photography is Joaquin Cedillo. And it originally aired on April 12th, 2020.
We don't really have a call of the week because the calls aren't really working and everything is kind of upside down, topsy-turvy, and bad. So I guess we could call it the case of the week. The emergency of the week is in fact Dispatch, because the Los Angeles Dispatch Center and staff are taken hostage as a band of criminals enact their master heist to steal millions of dollars worth of paintings from a museum. And that's all we see. Well, like the minor emergencies, but like they're not in charge.
You don't even really see him.
No. So what did we think of this episode? I think we all really enjoy it, generally speaking.
It's a good episode. I mean, it's the same kind of vibes as
Ocean's 911.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's Mercury retrograde, guys.
We're almost done.
We're almost done. This is the last episode.
For now.
But yeah, it's got those kinds of vibes. It's just really fun. It's more like a movie than like an episode.
It is like a movie.
Yeah, it is very much just like a heist movie again. And they do a good job with it. This time it's like less of an ensemble because you don't get the whole 118. You just get Chim and Buck. But still very fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a good episode. It's a nightmare for character analysis, but but yeah, it's a good episode. It's fun to see or fun having these characters put in like some intense, like more intense situations where they have to more like act quickly or figure out how to get through something like episode wide instead of like, their snapshots where they're mostly competent at what they're doing in that moment, like in regular calls or this is technically just Dispatch, but like Dispatch doesn't really get the action, right? This is Dispatch finally being put in the action.
Yeah.
Against their will.
Against their will.
Very much against their will.
They literally did not sign up for this.
No.
They were like, this is not in the job description.
No, absolutely not. But it's another one of those like when it's your emergency type of things, which I think we saw a lot in season 2. And it is just like, it's so different, but like it's still really enjoyable and really, I just forgot the word that I was going to say.
Insert an adjective here.
Insert adjective here. No, I just was trying to say like the whole concept of this heist, I really enjoy. Like I love the kind of almost like, why are they taking over Dispatch? And it's for this other greater plan, and just like how that's woven in, like the thought that like they had to really think about how they would pull off a heist. Like really, I think, because it makes sense. It makes sense. And I think it's a really interesting and smart plan, and interesting in the way that they utilize Dispatch, because, you could do a heist without taking over Dispatch, but the fact that that's how they utilize it was really cool. It's just a fun episode. And there are like little character moments, but it's also nice just in general to focus on some of the people at Dispatch, because they are so kind of tertiary to the main 118 and it kind of broadens the family a little bit more. And I like that we're seeing more of Josh and getting him like more into the fold and everything like that.
We're gonna need the jaws of life over here.
Let's use these jaws of life to pry open the safe into the articles of the past. How's that? Okay, so I know the last couple episodes we didn't have a lot of press articles. I found 3 interviews with Jennifer Love Hewitt for this episode, and obviously it's with her. She plays a very pivotal role in this episode. So she's covering a little bit about Maddie and Chimney's relationship, Maddie having to deal with the dispatch takeover, and a little more. So I'll pull some quotes that I thought were kind of fun. And these are, again, all from Jennifer Love Hewitt. So she says in one of them that it's funny because in about a year's time with the taking of dispatch, this will be the second time that Maddie has been either held hostage or kidnapped or something like that. So in this moment, she's at least learning from her experiences and how to quickly get yourself in a power position and get help for yourself. And that's a cool girl moment. She also talks about how they wanted to give Maddie a strength that was different from the Big Bear episode to show that there was some growth, and somewhere in her gut, she had a belief system this time that you can save yourself and you don't have to die, to give the audience something new to see in her. I think that really comes across. She also said that when they learned that dispatch was taking over, one of the first questions that she and I think some of the other actors who work at dispatch asked was, but with all this going on, how will we answer the calls? And I just think that's really sweet. So she said that they were all very surprised when they brought in new call center people to sit at their desks. And they had this weird moment of like, hey, that's my desk. I'll answer the call. Get on up. And, and that they had to learn so many new protocols and things for this episode, how this kind of stuff is really handled and when it was to happen. And she said that was really interesting. I imagine there was a lot of like different kind of, procedures that they would have to learn about for like a real life situation. I don't know how true it is to real life, but like, just kind of interesting that they were just like, no, I'm going to answer the calls. You don't sit at that desk. That's mine. Yeah. Talking about how even at the end of the episode, Maddie still didn't say, I love you to Chimney in that way. And Jennifer Love Hewitt said that the writers and producers are so great because when they were doing the scene in the restaurant from Pinned, where Maddie couldn't say, I love you back, she didn't know what the next episode was yet. So she was there and was like, guys, this is so harsh. I get it. And I think it's right. But can we say something? Can I give the guy anything? Because she felt really bad that there was this moment and he's doing all of this and Maddie couldn't quite meet him there. Apparently the writers and producers told Jennifer Love Hewitt that it was for a really intense reason. And so that's why Maddie says at the table, I love you always came from the middle of an extreme circumstance. And when she says it at the end of Pinned or at the beginning of this episode, it's to signal fear and that something happened and she's trying to save herself from something. And she goes on to say that she really does believe in that moment, Maddie means I love you and is probably terrified that she'll never get the chance to say it again if she doesn't. But she also thinks that it's Maddie's big, please be on the same wavelength with me as a person right now and understand that I'm going to die. And I think like the way that Jennifer Love Hewitt like gets that line across kind of does say all of that. Like, I'm in distress, but I need to say it in case I don't get another opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Love Hewitt said that they were also joking off camera that if the episode had continued, Maddie would have had to kill another person potentially. And that with Greg at the end, I know. so
oh, girly pop.
Maddie does have a trigger. Like if you threaten her life and push her too far, you're going to have to go out. So Jennifer Love Hewitt was very happy that it didn't end that way this time and that she's she isn't just stacking up bodies.
Oh my god.
So it's different.
So she's literally looks like a cinnamon roll can kill you.
Yeah. Oh, I think so, definitely. She was also speaking about what she respects most about Maddie and Chimney's relationship is that the show is giving it time to grow. Like it feels like a relationship that should be happening between two people in their 30s or 40s who have been through everything they've been through. Their love feels well earned. And it's different from other things that we see on TV. I do think they rush relationships a lot. So I love that Jennifer Love Hewitt is like a big proponent of the slow burn as well.
Mm-hmm.
And how like realistic that makes it, especially for people like Maddie and Chimney who have been through so much. They are going to be a little more cautious jumping into those kind of things. She also spoke about Maddie and Josh's friendship and if we're going to see more of it. So she said, we'll definitely see more of that. And Josh is really now effortlessly folding into Maddie and Chimney's relationship and a friendship with Buck. He's reaching out into more of the group and you'll definitely see more of him this season. And I hope next season. And that Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brian Safi, who plays Josh, are really good friends off camera and they adore working together. He gives such a great performance and made Josh's character someone that people can really love and root for. And he's now just become a huge part of things at 911 and she loves him to pieces and it's really cute. And then just like a little fun couple tidbits about Maddie and Buck specifically. There was an interviewer who, after asking about Maddie and Chimney's relationship, the interviewer said, and now that Albert is around, it's like they have a full grown son. And Jennifer Love Hewitt says, well, yes, and Buck. So we're officially raising those people on the show. And now I have Josh too. Jennifer Love Hewitt saying that Maddie and Chimney are raising Albert and Buck. And I just love that, that recognition that Maddie is Buck's real parent and just like the sibling relationships that they all have in their little like nuclear family. All right. And then we have a couple things about production stuff that might be of interest because around this week, it was announced on April 13th, 2020, that both 911 and 911 Lone Star were renewed for new seasons. So it would be season 4 for 911 and season 2 for Lone Star. So that was terrible. So that's exciting. Which I think this ended up being later than it was the last couple years for renewal, but I still think I don't know exactly like how early that would have been. It might have been around the same time as a bunch of other renewals. So huzzah. Let's see. I think I mentioned in the last episode, because we ended off with a cliffhanger, and that little bit of this episode that we saw in Pinned, this episode came back after a 2-week hiatus. So they really left you hanging. And not knowing what was going to happen. And I think this kind of delivered. Yeah. So this was the big return for a teeny tiny hiatus, and just a little recognition for Andrew Myers, who co-wrote this episode. He also wrote, very notably, Ocean's 911, which was the other heist episode. And man, does he love a good heist. I think
Andrew Myers?
Yeah, I think his hyperfixation is showing a little bit, but like I love it. So I just thought that was really funny. And also, I think he's written all of the episodes that have 911 in the title, because it's like Ocean's 911, Taking of Dispatch 911, Brawl and Cell Block 911. I think there's one other, but it's really funny. Like it's heists. Cause like,
he's like, it's like this thing, but make it 911.
Yeah.
That's the concept.
Also Brawl and Cell Block 911 is kind of a heist in itself. So it's like, he's studied a lot.
So I was like, this is the original hostage situation. That's what it really is.
It is. And then I also mentioned in the last episode in Pinned, because it was co-written by Nadia Abbas-Madden as well as this one. And just to remind us that she was a former 911 dispatch operator. And I think that really probably played great insight into everything about this episode. So like it was a perfect team up. It was the heist and the dispatch knowledge and like evil geniuses here a little bit. Like if they wanted to, they could probably actually pull off a heist of this. I wouldn't put it past them. Not that they would. Maybe they could. Like I know who I would want on my team, basically, you know? And then just a couple other interesting little or tidbits that I find interesting. So the building that they cut to when they were talking about the art museum is actually the Walt Disney Concert Hall in Los Angeles. And it was designed by architect Frank Gehry, and it opened in 2003. And I thought this was really cool because he was so committed to producing a building that would promote the best acoustics possible that he actually used a 1/10 replica of the building. And he made a 1/10 replica and fed music or sound waves through it to kind of like see how the acoustics would. So he basically used a model to model how the acoustics would be. I thought that was cool.
That is cool.
And if you look at pictures, it's like a perfect like the building itself is really, really interesting. It's like super contemporary and like whoosh, kind of like flowy and very silver. And the inside is kind of like a really nice meld of form and function. So I think it was like married really well. One other little production design thing. Did they use Eddie's apartment just like redecorated for like Tiffany's apartment? Because I'm pretty sure they did. When we see them, when it's like the flashback to the planning and they're all around the table, I'm pretty sure that's Eddie's house and dining room.
You're gonna have to screen share it.
Because I wasn't paying attention. I just know that Tiffany was. I don't even know what Tiffany was doing. Was that at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even watch the end after the first time I watched it. I was like, I'm done.
Tiffany is the brains.
Yeah.
She really was.
And it was all a revenge plot because this whole crew had done a heist together that went wrong, and they needed a driver because their last driver died on the last heist, and they left him to die. And it turns out that was her father. So this was all like a revenge plot. She was always going to double cross them.
Okay. I love her little smile there. It's so funny. Like the
Okay, pause.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Oh yeah.
Because it has the same thing here. It's just redecorated.
It's got the window there. Yeah.
Yep. It's got the window here.
Wait, I don't know about
the kitchen door is closed.
I think they take the door off.
Yeah, because I was like, there's not normally a door there, is there?
No.
Yes, there is.
It's always open.
It's always open, but there's normally a door.
I was like, I've never seen a door closed there.
710.
Yeah.
Wait, now I'm like, close inward, outward? Like what? Because I just remember it's when like Eddie was talking to his parents in 710 in the kitchen, and then Buck comes in, he opens the door. So now I'm like, how does it open? Because now I'm like, was it there during the 817 kitchen scene?
I'd have to check, but I think either it either is open and it goes kind of like flush where the refrigerator is, or they just take the door off.
Maybe it does go. Because like Anna opens the door.
Oh.
Yeah. That's so weird.
So
but, okay, whatever.
So they used Eddie's house and just redeck. But I was like, wait, I know that place.
It's not like he needed it for this episode.
I know, but it's also kind of interesting because it's like, will we see it the rest of the season? Because how much effort does it take to take all of that stuff out, put the new stuff in for like an episode, and then take all of that stuff out and put the red, like Eddie stuff back in? I don't know. So like, that's an interesting, like, how do they just, anyways.
It's probably easier to do that than build a whole new
Oh, and that's
Apartment set.
probably why they did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just do needle drop a little bit. There's just like two little things that I thought was kind of funny. So during the heist, when we finally learned that Tiffany was the mastermind, it plays the zombies. She's not there. And it's, from what I've gathered, it's kind of like about a femme fatale or maybe even like a siren. So it's kind of funny that like that shows up and Tiffany was the mastermind. She was like so underestimated. And then at the very end, when Maddie is kind of preparing to move some of her stuff into Chimney's closet, it plays A Sunday Kind of Love by Etta James. And I thought that was a really nice tie into the last episode as well, because when they were at the hotel, they also used Etta James At Last. So I was like, oh, Etta James is just like Madney soundtrack, which is super cute.
Oh, that is cute.
Yeah. I've connected the dots.
You didn't connect shit.
Okay, so for a little bit of Red String Corner, I have some Buckapedia content. Because not that this is like super relevant, but it made me think of it. So with this art heist, it made me think of a very famous art heist or art theft. And that was at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, Massachusetts. So that was in March of 1990, where 13 works of art were stolen from the museum. It's a mystery that to this day remains unsolved. Have I talked about this before on the podcast?
I don't think so. I don't know why we would have talked about an art heist before this episode.
Just a little thing about that. There were 13 works of art that was stolen. One of them, or among them, was Johann Vermeer's The Concert, which is one of only 34 known artworks of his. And it's pretty much thought to be the most valuable unrecovered painting in the world. And also missing was The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, which was painted by Rembrandt. It's notable because it's his only seascape. There were a bunch of other paintings and sketches by Rembrandt, Edgar Degas, Edward Manet, and Govert Flinck, and a eagle finial and Chinese, I think like a vase. And experts were puzzled by the choice of artwork because there were more valuable pieces in the museum.
Were they easier to steal?
I don't really know, but they took the paintings out from the frames similarly to this episode, to how they did in this episode. And the Stewart Gardner Museum is a really interesting museum as well, because it was dictated by Isabella Stewart Gardner, who collected a lot of works during her lifetime, that when she passed away, her house, which is now the museum, would stay the same. So like they wouldn't take away any different pieces. They wouldn't add different pieces. So it is like exactly how she wanted it. So because of that, the collection and the layout is intended to be permanent. And so the empty frames for the paintings remain hanging. So they're just empty frames, but they're still just like up. And as like an homage to the missing works and placeholders for their return.
Bro, it's been like,
well,
why?
No, but she didn't want anything to be changed. So they didn't change it. So they still have the frames up. So they're just like abiding by her last will and testament.
All right.
And then the theft was like, so it's still unsolved, but and there's more that you can learn about. It's like really interesting. But with the theft, the security guards admitted 2 men posing as policemen responding to a disturbance call, and the thieves bound the guards and looted the museum over the next hour. So I really do think that Nadia Bass-Madden and Andrew Myers might have taken some inspiration from the Stewart Gardner Museum theft and kind of like plopped it in here. And just as a fun little fact for anybody who has any information regarding these missing works, the museum is still offering a reward. Right now, it's a $10 million reward for information leading directly to the safe return of the stolen artworks. So, if you know anything, there may be some reward for you, but they'll probably never be recovered because it's been 35 years.
I imagine that like whoever stole the stuff was either like commissioned to steal specific things, or they were just doing it like for shits and giggles. Because like, why else wouldn't you take like the more valuable stuff?
Like it's really a fascinating case, and there's like, if you're interested in it, I highly suggest looking into it because it's like there's just a lot of weird stuff about it. And it's kind of fascinating because usually they would catch these people, and by this time, they're probably still in the wind or in some private person's collection that will never see the light of day again. So just kind of like weird stuff. But there's your Buckapedia corner.
Yay.
Art heists. Super interesting.
Okay, so I think there's a little bit of foreshadowing for Athena. So when Athena walks into dispatch, Sue Blevins gets on the radio to kind of warn her because, like, you know, like if she had actually like gone in alone as she does, it probably would have ended differently. But Code 77 is ambush, which is foreshadowing for 317, which is called Powerless, which is where she gets ambushed by the you-know-who.
Oh, that's so interesting. I'm glad you remembered that.
I forgot his name.
Good catch.
Do we just refer him as the serial fuckface? Yeah. Yeah, fuckface.
Good catch.
Yeah, because I think that's it, right? Because after this, it's Eddie Begins, and then it's the beginning of that arc anyway, because I think after Eddie Begins, that's when we meet him.
Great catch. I forgot about that. I think maybe on purpose.
Would love to forget about him after this season, but unfortunately,
I mean, for a reason, I would, unfortunately, we visit him again in season 5.
And I think the only thing I have for parallels, just like two little things. So we see Chimney kind of like work through his problem solving where he's talking to himself, kind of reminded me of 214 Broken when he was recovering from being stabbed, and he called in Tommy to do the flyover for the neighborhood, and he was like working things out on his own. And also in 214 we had Athena team up with Buck, and we saw that again. So a lot of allusions to 214, especially because that's when Dispatch was down in that whole episode. So lots of parallels there.
Flashover.
For themes, we have, I think one major one is working as a team. And we see that both with the heist people, the dispatch take. What do we call them? The bad guys. What do you mean? What do we call them? I don't know. Are they thieves? Are they criminal? Yeah. So we see that with the thieves, how they're trying to work as a team, but also like it kind of disintegrates. But the rest of dispatch, the operators do work as a team, and Chimney and Buck and Athena kind of work as a team a little bit as well. Then there's also being underestimated. I think we see that very clearly with Tiffany, who ends up being the brains of the operation, even though she's just the like lowly driver, right? And you wouldn't think. But also, I think that the dispatch operators are also underestimated, especially like Sue and Josh and just everybody. And I think being underestimated is actually like powerful. And then feeling responsible, which is kind of carried over from the last episode as well. Josh is feeling extra responsible because it's him who was targeted, even though this literally has no fault of his own, and Maddie has to keep reminding him of that. Then again, from last episode, we saw the idea of time is ticking. Why do you always feel like you're running out of time? Because this heist is on a time limit, they're stressed for time, and they're stressed for time. It's a high stress situation, and they only have so big of a window. Same for dispatch operators who realize that like they probably wouldn't want to leave any witnesses. So like the time is ticking. Their opportunities, those windows are closing. And in that sense, there's a little bit of like seizing the moment or seizing the opportunity, kind of like seize the day, where we saw a few times like Terry and Linda saw an opportunity for like a distraction sort of thing, and they go and they try to take it, and eventually it pays off. Then there's being paranoid, where we see Chimney starting to like question, like, am I being paranoid? Am I making too big a deal out of nothing? When he's worried about Maddie, his instincts are correct. So there's also trusting your gut again, trusting your instincts. And then Greg, kind of like the quote unquote ringleader. And I think some of the other people on his team are being paranoid as well. And then we have some more when healers do harm. We saw that a lot in Malfunction. And this time it is very much coerced and not on their own volition, because, you know, they're not able to provide the correct kind of assistance that their job is supposed to entail. And then as well as Maddie, like doing the EpiPen and potentially almost killing Greg, but then she and Josh work to keep him alive. Similarly, it's some more of just keep swimming and like fighting to save yourself, right? And then the last one that I thought was just kind of a little hee hee ha ha is everyone has a match. So kind of like in Seize the Day, we had, you know, all of that talk about the singles and online dating. And then we have, you know, basically the whole heist revolving around, or the secondary part of the heist revolving around Tiffany and Jake and how they fell in love, and also how Maddie and Chimney are such perfect matches for each other.
Who's cooking?
Full disclosure?
Yes, full disclosure. There's not that much character analysis to be had here. Fun episode, but not a lot of like
Deep
forward
character analysis.
Yeah, there's not a lot of forward movement in like
No.
to really dive into. But, you know, we're going to touch on everyone just a tiny bit, especially the characters that like we don't normally get to see at all, more than like glimpses of. So, I think we have this split up into like the dispatch team and then the not dispatch team.
Yeah.
And we're going to start with the dispatch team because it's their episode.
It is like their episode.
It's their Avengers team up movie.
No, really, they work so well together.
Go team.
It really shows like how much of a little community they develop with everyone. So I don't know. I guess we can start with Sue. We don't get to talk about Sue that much. I love her.
Yeah. I think she only has like one actual storyline.
I know. Give
she's such
Josh and Sue more
she's a fun
storylines.
character.
She's great. Like, I would love to learn more of her backstory. I know we learn like a little bit when we learn Josh's, but she's just such like a cool lady.
Yeah. She really keeps a cool head like in this situation. And I don't know why they just like sit her in the center and like let her observe everything. I don't think it was a very smart move.
No, I think it's because I noticed that too.
I think they underestimated her.
Yes.
I feel like they underestimated her because she's, you know, an older lady and then like harmless. Didn't really think that she was going to do much.
Exactly. And she kind of plays into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So they do have her just kind of like sitting on the side.
Yeah.
I think it's because she is the supervisor. So if there's anything that goes wrong, like she's they know
that too.
who to get to, and she's just like closer by. But she really does play into how much they underestimate her, because when she gives the code 77 to get Athena the hell out of there, she's like, Oh, I think it was just like, what did she say? Like,
She said a public urination or
public indecency or urinating in public.
It's been so long since I've
exactly. She's like, oh, it's been so long since I was on the radios. I'm rusty. I don't remember. I'm old and I don't remember things. And it's like, no, she knew exactly what she was doing. And it was very pointed. And that's what helped Athena put everything together.
And it was so smart, but I'm also just like, how dumb are these criminals that like you're pulling a heist and you didn't think to learn the codes
right
from the police that you're trying to like play 3D chess with?
They thought of everything
except that.
Yeah. So I love that she allows herself to be underestimated in that way. And it really shows how much of a badass she is. Because at the end, when like the status quo is turning and she's able to get her hands on one of the guns, she's like she's the only person that like from dispatch that actually fires the weapon. And
she's like I mean, as far as I know, which is nothing about guns, but she looks like she's fired one before.
Yes, because she's so confident.
Like she's standing there, she's not shaking, she's completely chill and calm. So,
and she's like, the next one goes in your head, and it's just like,
there's probably a lot of truth in that, actually.
She's like, damn, Sue didn't realize your game. we weren't familiar with your game.
Truly gave her her badass moment.
So like, yeah, I want to learn more about Sue because like, like she was so calm under that kind of pressure, and it's just like, you've done this before. I want to know more.
Like, I want to know what other crazy situations that you've been in that you were so.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
And it really was like stupidity on the
they were
part.
all so dumb. Except for, you know, the mastermind.
Yes, because she was the only smart one in the bunch. But because Sue is like staying in this position and not getting rotated out, she's starting to put everything together and is able to kind of like, you know, maybe allude to give people clues if they need to, kind of like what Linda did. So that's Sue. She's awesome.
And then we have Terry, who could or could not be Anna Flores' relative.
I know, that's so interesting, right?
I love when people make him like her cousin and Fix.
Yeah. I had canon it. Like, it's fun.
That's so funny.
Why not? Yeah.
But it's also funny when people like if they play into that idea, but then also make Eddie date Terry Flores.
I mean, I guess he does like go on a date with him and like one or two fics that I've read. Mostly what I've read is like Terry just like, finally. Because he's heard all of the gossip.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. And I think people only do that because of Mayday and like when Eddie's doing like the sternal rub. And it's just like, ugh. But you can make anything out of anything. Yeah,
you sure can. That's the beauty of fandom.
Poor Terry. He is such an integral part of Dispatch, and like we'll come to know that he knows it like the back of his hand. But I think it is really like he's the first one to know that like something's going on, right? And he still can't really tell anybody about it. But because he hears that gunshot that we soon find out is another kind of like red herring where he thought Jake was getting shot, but it was actually Jake, you know, pulling the secondary, you know, wool over. So because he heard that gunshot, it makes things so real, so much more real for him, and that he knows what they're capable of because he's the one that's like really, really visibly shaken, I think, more than some of the other people.
And they keep holding a gun directly and pressing it into his face.
Yeah. It makes
They're
it a
not
lot more
doing
real.
that to anyone else. Like everyone else is like in their general direction, but they keep like holding it up to his face.
Yeah. And because he's not a dispatcher, he doesn't necessarily have like that same training, I would think, to stay calm under pressure like that. But I think
the IT guy.
I know he's a great IT guy though. But I think it makes it like that much more brave of him when there's that like little tussle between the bad guys, and he sees the fire alarm and a little light bulb goes off in his head, and he seizes that opportunity to try to break out and go for it, even with how scared he is. I think really speaks to like his bravery. And I think that's like a really sweet moment. And I believe that's like kind of the first attempt at making a break for something that any of the dispatch people have. So I believe that also kind of like bolsters Linda when she pulls her like fake anaphylactic reaction sort of thing. So it's like they're all feeding off each other and trying to find these pockets of opportunity and moments where they can like take advantage of the situation and change that status quo. I think that's really cool of Terry. Good job. Because that was really scary. So I guess then like kind of going into Linda, she's like the first to warn Maddie because she's putting the pieces together too. And they're keeping all of the people when they rotate them out all together. And it's like, well, they can still talk to each other. Like that's kind of also stupid. But during the switch out, Linda tells Maddie that they don't want anything downtown. And she was very quick to pick up on that. And she's just like really astute in like when she has her fake allergic reaction and she's like, you know, get the EpiPen. She kind of takes the fall, but understands that Maddie is smart enough to pick up on this opportunity she's giving her. And it's just really clever.
Also really glad that they didn't have Linda get stung by a bee in 8012 or 3.
I know, right? That was so
we were
funny.
worried about her.
That was so funny. It's like, you don't have to worry about bees today.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not today.
I know.
I know.
I don't even think she was there.
She probably stayed home that day.
But I remember when we found out it was going to be a bee NATO, we were like, oh no, Linda.
Linda, no. Yeah, so I just love like the teamwork that they're able to kind of lean on each other and foster between everybody, and like they're all on the same wavelength. They're all on the same page. They can kind of communicate without so many words. They just
they
get
all
it.
have the same training. They all work together, closely in high stress situations. So, even though they aren't, out in the field in that kind of way, they still do like work well as a team.
Yeah. And they're able to like be their own heroes at the end, which is like super cool.
Oh, Josh.
Sweet Josh.
Poor baby.
He really is, because he still is taking on so much responsibility for this whole thing, because it's Greg, I guess, who targeted and attacked him, and it's just like
he's like Greg or whatever his name is.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's so not Josh's fault at all, but he's taking on, he's like internalizing this responsibility, and he doesn't have to.
No, because like we talked about, like in the mugging episode, we talked about like even if he had reported it, it would have just been like a description. And who's to say that like even if they had found him specifically, that like this whole thing wouldn't have still played
Transpired.
out.
Exactly. Yeah. So like there's literally nothing to blame himself about that. And I do really like the insight that he has to when he's realizing once dispatch is being taken over, that he's like, you only do something this bad because this is egregious. Like they're impersonating police officers, which is a felony. They're taking over dispatch, which I'm sure is a felony. They're doing so many felonies, but he's like, he gets that like you only do something this bad if you're planning on doing something worse.
I mean, at least they were only like robbing art, but like they were holding the entirety of dispatch hostage. So I still feel like that is worse than the stealing the art.
Too.
Like it's just that's not people, it's just art. But yeah, I mean, it is smart that it's like, obviously this isn't the end goal. Like they aren't, and they're trying very hard to not like have other people know that they're here. So like this isn't, what they're actually doing. They're doing something else. But yeah, he is kind of going through it, but like still manages to like help get, some more puzzle pieces out to the outside world with that,
Yes.
annoying call. Why is it always food related?
It's like a running joke at this point.
It's
Like
I was
the
thinking
chicken
back-
nuggets.
I was thinking of the chicken nuggets.
That's me too.
Ma'am, eat your chicken nuggets.
Get off my line.
I was also just like, green onions that have such a mild taste. Why are you so offended by them in your food? That also just confused me. But anyway, the fact that he was like, I'm going to dispatch because, it's illegal for you to call 911 for a non-emergency and to like use that as an opportunity to dispatch Athena, who he knew, knows personally and knows that she's very smart, but knows that she knows Chimney. And Maddie said, like, I already tried to get a message out there. So like that was so fucking clever. Yeah.
Because it really like
That's smart.
okay, things are definitely not right. So they're also both Josh and Maddie are like putting a lot of faith in Chimney to kind of like
which he deserves rightfully.
Yeah. He does. Like he's earned it. So like he's kind of the perfect person for them to put all of these like, feelers out of like danger, Will Robinson, And also when he's being like goaded by Greg about like and having his own words thrown in his face about wanting to be worthwhile. It's just like I think that's what kind of gives him that like bolster to get that message out to Athena and Chimney, because he's like, okay, if I'm going to be worthwhile, I'm going to do what I can. And I think that really just kind of like feeds his fire a little bit to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that he, even in the face of someone who attacked him and like catfished him and did like these really, really awful things, he doesn't like kowtow to it. He uses the strength that he has to do what he needs to do. And I think it's like a very brave thing, especially to like look at your attacker like eye to eye and just be like, screw you.
Yep. Especially when it's like, obviously everyone is going through a lot in this situation, but it's even worse for him because he already has like PTSD from the mugging. So it's like that is compounding on the current situation. And I just think that he handled it extremely well, considering he was dealing with that on top of the stress of being in the current situation. And then he like, I was just going to talk about how like, I don't think obviously he cares about like, just like not letting people die. But I think it really was just like, you don't get to get off that easy.
Yes.
No, you're going to suffer. You deserve to actually suffer.
You deserve
all of us
to serve the jail time that you're due. When like Josh doing compressions on Greg after he gets stuck with the EpiPen because he like him saying you don't get to die, like it just shows how truly good of a person Josh is, because kind of like Maddie had in when she's dealing with Tara and Tara's husband, like there was a choice there, like like an opportunity to just like not do anything and let this bad guy who did very bad things and even worse things just like die and like not get saved. But that's not who we know Maddie is. That's also not who Josh is, because they are first responders. They are healers. And even when given the opportunity kind of to just like let, I guess, nature take its course, they're still like, no, I'm gonna do the right thing.
I also think part of him is also just like, let's not have Maddie have to deal with killing another person.
That too.
But I also think like it kind of saves him from having well, like Maddie, Maddie has like some kind of regret with like Doug dying. I think it kind of parallels to that, like not having Greg die while Josh could have done something to keep him alive, even though like obviously it's not for the reasons of wanting to keep this person alive. I don't really think it's really out of the good. This is just more like, yes, it's to do the right thing, but it's also like, again, it, like Han said, it shouldn't be easy. Like, you should definitely like serve the time. You should really get what is going to happen to you, like get those consequences happening.
Yes. Like he has to face the consequences. And it's also, I don't think Josh would ever want the guilt of, because we know he takes on extra responsibility. It's like, this is that would be unnecessary guilt of like, well, I could have saved him. Like, no, now you did everything that he could.
Yeah.
So yeah, Josh gets to have like a clear conscience. So going into Maddie, I love when our characters are so smart. They're all so smart in this episode. Because she's so quick. Like, everybody's so quick to put different puzzle pieces together. She's also like really astute that she knows that she saw Josh drop the mug and knew something was up. Like, he knew what was going on because that happened before Greg pulled out the gun. So she clocked that and is also understanding why they're rotating everybody out, like with the purpose to disorient people so that they can't make a plan. And I think Maddie, again, is just like very familiar with manipulation tactics. So she's able to really kind of like spot them now and uses that to her advantage. But she's also kind of helping keep everybody else calm, right? And a little optimistic. It seems she's already like, I already got a message out to Chimney. Hopefully that helps. Like, some like help is on the way, right? So much of what we hear with Maddie is just like, help is on the way, but they're still going to do what they can to like keep fighting for themselves. I really like to that aspect, like when she kind of weasels a little bit more out of Greg than he intended on sharing, when she was like, I'm worried.
She was like the part where she was like, oh, so you are worried. That part?
Yeah. I forget what she said. Like, she's worried about someone. And then Greg says, you don't have to be worried about time. Oh,
yeah.
I'll worry.
Yes. Yeah. He said, she said,
he's like, I'll worry about the time. And then she's like, oh, you're worried.
She said, you can check on him when we're done. She's like, which is going to be when exactly? You said an hour. Yeah. It's been longer than that. And he's like, sit down, shut up. I'll worry about the time.
And then she turns it on him. Yeah. Brilliantly.
So you are worried.
It's like, so you are worried. That makes sense because all your friends keep disappearing.
And that's already when a little bit of discord is being like, the cracks between the criminal team are being shown. And she saw like a way to kind of like dig a wedge in there and definitely used it to her advantage. I thought that was really, really smart. Yeah. So she picks up what Linda was trying to get her to do, which was get the EpiPen and kind of, again, use that to her advantage. And then she's faced with the possibility of killing another person again, which, again, so glad they didn't do. She doesn't need...
Fuck around and find out.
Maddie really is that, though. She's like, if you threaten me or my people, you're gonna get burned a little bit. So it's her fight or flight response showing itself again.
Yeah, she has like a lot of survival instinct.
Yes.
Where Buck has none.
No, he does not. I guess like just jumping to when Dispatch is saved and they're all let out of the building and she's looking for Chimney. And it's when she finally spots him that she like allows herself to break down a little bit. And it's because he is her safe space. And she's like, she was so brave and she did everything that she could and she almost killed another person, but it's all okay now because Chimney got the message and he's right there waiting for her. And it's just like this really beautiful moment. Ugh. I love it. It's like tunnel vision a little bit and they reunite.
Yeah. I mean, the whole seeing each other from across the room in a crowd of people. And,
right in front of her?
Right in front of her.
Okay, maybe we should put that in slow burn.
The world just stop.
It reminded me, and it's not even like a direct parallel, but I don't know if you guys have ever seen enough Grey's Anatomy to see this episode. It was in one of the first couple seasons, but it's when Derek is back together with Addison, with his wife.
I watched season 2. Let's see if I remember.
Okay, so season 1, he gets together with Meredith, and it's like soulmate love, right? But like he's actually still married to a woman who cheated on him, but he takes her back because honor and loyalty or whatever. But like he's still in love with Meredith. Did I say Madison? No, Addison and Meredith. Jesus fucking Christ. I hate Mercury retrograde. Anyway. But they're in love, Meredith and Derek, even though he's back with his wife. And like an emergency happens. I can't remember which one's, like a really bad one. And he walks into the room and he's doing that look that like both Chimney and Maddie were doing like for each other, like trying to find each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then
was it the train?
I think it might have been the train.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, it was the train. No, it wasn't the train. I think it's
my limited knowledge of Grey's Anatomy.
This one was the one that was like down by the water because Meredith falls in and almost drowns. Oh, okay. Anyway, but the point of the story is the chief is like, don't worry, she's right here. And like, he's supposed to be relieved and he's like hugging his wife because like, obviously that's who he should be looking for. But like, he is hugging her and his face is still looking.
Mm-hmm.
And the chief's wife is like, I don't think that's the she that he was looking for. And so this just reminded me of that for some reason, because it's like when it's like your person, your match, like,
yes,
like your eyes are only trying to find them. So it doesn't make
eyes only for them.
Yeah.
So that's a really lovely moment. And
it's very cute because like obviously Buck was very concerned this whole episode too, because that's his sister and because of everything that she just went through. So like he does insert himself into the situation and is there, but like he stands back and lets them have that moment because he's like, that's what she needs.
Like after the whole events have transpired and, you know, they do like the little debrief thing that is always fun, that little like debrief montage. And Maddie says she knows what like being crazy in love feels like in reference to
she said
Jake
I know the feeling.
and Tiffany. Yeah. So she is reinforcing what she and Chimney talked about in the last episode, where she still doesn't say it, but as long as she makes Chimney understand how she feels, he will say it enough for both of them. And
she doesn't have to say it as long as he feels it.
And I just think that's like she shows it in so many other ways. Good for them. All right, so now we get to talk about our team on the outside. That's right, not Hercules Mulligan, Athena, Chimney, and Buck.
How many Hamilton references has it been today?
That was the second one.
That was the first one. The last episode was a lot.
That was a lot.
No, it wasn't.
I don't. Maybe it's because of TikTok. That trend that's going because it's like Hamilton.
Yeah, I feel like Hamilton's been, it's been in my face lately.
All right, so we've got Athena and Chimney and Buck teaming up once again. The A team. Actually, it's the ABC team. ABC.
Wow.
So
okay.
I don't know. We'll start a little bit with Athena. Her spidey senses are tingling, right? She's got such good intuition, and we know this. She always goes with her gut, and her gut is usually correct, right? So even though she's a little like skeptical, she still kind of follows that hunch, right? Like she wants to be proven wrong, but she follows those hunches in order to be proven wrong, which like she never really is. So when she's not called to that car accident in that intersection and is then called away to a fight that's broken up and there's like 5 officers there and it's totally unnecessary. She's just like, okay, that's a little suspect. So with the excuse of like dispatch is just acting up, technical difficulties, and then being brought over to Chimney's place a la Josh, and it's just like something is definitely up. by that time, like Chimney and Buck are like, no, something's happening. And she's trying to be like the voice of reason a little bit. Like, I'm sure it's fine, but come with me anyways, so you don't do anything foolish. Kind of like hearkening back to 312, which I mean is kind of a, quintessential Athena move. She pulled that with Buck when they were looking for Maddie when she was being kidnapped by Doug. So it's just like
fight or flight, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of like she doesn't trust them not to do something so stupid and brazen that she's just like, just come with me. It's better that you're under my supervision than nobody's supervision.
I can lock you in my car if needed.
Yeah, and it's so funny because like you can tell and we know she prefers to work alone. She is a lone wolf, but they do make a good team. And it's really funny how much she's dragging her feet about it. And she figured out the art, that it was an art museum thing because she looked at the logs and cross-referenced everything.
It's just her being good at her job.
Just her being
new.
Yeah. Just like, again, she was being more of a detective than anything else. And that's what she's really good at. Yeah. Going with her gut. Yeah. And then she's like debriefing everybody at the dinner table with Bobby and Michael and Harry and May. And it's really cute. And
she's
like
regaling them with the story.
She's like, this is what you missed on Glee.
Yeah. And then Harry says the really like, I guess there's no honor among thieves. And it's so cute. He's so wise. But I guess they're all happy family right now, right? They had their camping trip and they got over it. So now it's just like, let's just live in the moment and be a family momentarily, So that's kind of cute.
This is, to me, objectively one of the funniest couple scenes of Chimney, ever. Because it's literally just him talking to himself out of being, it's basically Buck. That's the difference. Because Buck would have just immediately done the things. He would have been like, don't be that guy. He would have just been like, I am that guy. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But he's like trying to convince himself, like, it's not weird. Like, she did tell you without telling you that she loved you. It's not weird. Everything's probably fine. Everything's okay.
But he knows.
He knows because like of what you said, earlier about like, especially the reason why she feels like she can't say that, not just that she felt like she couldn't, and that it was attached to those negative things. So it very much was obvious to him and gave him a very bad sinking feeling.
I love that scene because I feel like as an audience member, it gives me like the opportunity to respond to like some of the things that he's saying, like while he's talking to himself.
Right?
I'm like, just
be that guy.
Do it. You are correct. You have listened to your instincts. Be that guy, man. Like, call 911. Do it. Just do it.
It's so funny. I love seeing how Chimney problem solves, especially because it's so consistent with how he did that in 214. Just like talking to himself, like that gif with all the numbers and just like putting things together. And it just makes sense for like who he is. He is like a very like external like processor a bit. And
also the only scene on television I can think of that has someone with their phone with 911 ready to go, debating whether just like, don't be that guy. You don't need to do that. Like, I don't know. It's just such a weird, but just
like him staring at
Chimney thing. Yeah.
Staring at his phone with 911 brought up. And it's just like, do I not? Am I being paranoid? And he has to like convince himself yes or no. And he's like, he knows what his gut is telling him.
Yeah. But as soon as he gets that high call volume at 8 a.m., he's like,
no,
I think the fuck not.
And that's when he calls Buck.
Yep.
Which is great. And he's like,
which is so funny to me. Because if I felt like I needed someone to talk me down, Buck is not the person I would call.
Well, and that might be part of it because he's got a gut feeling, and like anyone else, like Hen would probably be like, logical.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. There's probably a technical difficulty, blah, 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 blah. But he chooses Buck to call also because it's Maddie. But I think because they are kind of similar in that way, in that like if there's something amiss, Buck will hone in on it too, because Buck also has good instincts with that. And it's just so funny the way that he called him up and was like, why am I getting a high call volume at 911 in the morning at 8 a.m. And it's like, Buck wouldn't know that, but it's like his way of processing it out loud, right?
I mean, actually, maybe it makes sense a little bit, because it's like if a natural disaster did happen and he missed it, Buck would be the person that knows, because natural disasters are now a new special interest of his.
See, exactly. He would know. He's probably got like all the
alerts.
And then I think it's when Chimney is in the car with Athena and he's kind of being like unusually quiet. He's just like simmering in this anxiety. It kind of does, again, parallel when Buck and Athena teamed up for Maddie and Doug, because, Athena has to be the one to like calm them down a little bit. Like, things will be fine. We'll take care of it. But again, in that episode, was that 210 or 211? It was 211, New Beginnings. Because Athena told Buck at that point, like, Maddie's strong. She'll be able to take care of herself. So I think it kind of like harkens back to that a little bit. And I love just the fact that they had Athena and Chimney and Buck team up, because they're also kind of like the people who Maddie has made the strongest connections with, even though like we don't really see Maddie and Athena that much, but like Athena gets Maddie. So, and doesn't underestimate her or anything like that. Not that the other two do, but just like, it's nice that they're all like banding together in this way. And it's mostly just that Chimney is worried that Maddie and everyone at Dispatch doesn't know that help is coming. And what if they get tired of waiting?
Which they did.
So like Chimney has a ticking clock on everything as well. He's like, well, we gotta go in there and save them, because I know that they're at some point they're going to want to save themselves. Because again, he doesn't underestimate them, and he knows exactly what they're capable of, that they are capable of fighting for themselves, but he doesn't want anything to go wrong, obviously. Yeah. And then the only thing else I have for Chimney is like, again, at the very end when he and Maddie are talking and he says like, I love you. And he says it's for both of them. And it's great. And just like their reunion moment again.
All right. Buckaroo. Buckaroo, buckaroo. I hope any of our listeners have watched Weeds and understand that when I do it.
I think you've explained it another time. Yeah.
It's really only funny if you've seen it, though.
One day. So when we first see Buck, he's answering Chimney's very concerned phone call. And his first instinct is like, is this a riddle? I love that so much. He's like, it's 8 a.m. Are you like trying to tell me a riddle? Like, it shows that he's always thinking outside the box.
He doesn't even know what thinking in the box is.
He doesn't know there's a box.
Then, Chim is telling him like, well, it was really weird because she like said, I love you. And he's like, isn't that like the whole point of you got like, you went out to dinner to like have your big love proclamations? And obviously my sister loves you and you love her. Like, he's not understanding like what this is until Chimney gives him some very like TLDR context. And then he isn't really super concerned until the very end of the conversation. And then he like hangs up and he's like, wait, I'm actually concerned now. Please don't leave me out of this. I need to be involved now. And then he inserts himself into it. But also like in a smart way, which I think was a good move to insert himself with Chimney and Athena, to just like, he was like, I do need to be watched right now because I will be doing something stupid if I am not supervised, which is very much what I got from him like driving. He was like, yes, pull me over and put me in the back of your car where I can't leave because that's where I need to be.
It was a little bit that like I do not Like, I do not trust myself to be on my own right now. But I think
but I also need to be involved.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. Also, it's like, no, you guys don't get to like raise the alarm, like, first of all, and now make me concerned about something, and then just like leave me out of the loop.
Let me carry on with my day when something is very obviously wrong with my sister.
Because it's Maddie, and Buck is always so protective of Maddie. We see this time and time again. So like, he is going to do everything in his power to help her. And what could he do otherwise? He has to.
He was just there.
Yeah. But at least he's like more in the loop, and he knows what's going on. And like, for Buck, knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
And but he does say like a very important thing where he prevents Athena from calling SWAT in the first place, because he's the one that brings up, if something is going down and you just bring a bunch of SWAT teams in, that's going to end really badly. And also they'll know that we're onto them. So like, you lose all of the element of surprise. Like, you need to do something a little more covert. And they do take that advice, and I think that like it's smart.
He was basically like, don't be cops about this. It's not gonna go well.
like there's another option, and it's just, again, just Buck thinking in a different way than Athena thinks. I think that is very, very clear. The way they think, they're paralleled with each other a lot, but the way they operate mentally is very different. But the way Buck and Chimney operate are very similar. So it's kind of fascinating to see like all of them interact in this way. When Buck, like, he must have kind of probably been speeding to get all the way to where Athena and Chimney are. And the way that he's like, okay, now don't be mad, when she goes up to the window, it just reminded me so much of like the pilot episode when he shows up with the whole fire engine and Athena's like, that's my backup, like, or whatever
like,
it
I
is
was available.
It's just kind of like Athena's reluctant,
but it's the added layer of like, please don't be mad at me, Mom.
Yeah. And just like the reluctant partnership on Athena's behalf, it's like, okay,
she's not looking at it as a partnership at all.
No.
She's just like, these are children that I have to keep
and
with
she
me.
says like, we are not partners.
Yes, she does.
I am calling the shot. You were just here so that you don't do anything stupid.
Which is correct.
And it's just like, and Buck's just kind of like petulantly in the back seat, like, hey, Chim. Like,
they look like they're on timeout. It's so funny.
They are. They're so on timeout, and they're just like kind of watching as all of the resources get together, and like it's great. But they're involved, and they feel like they're doing something, and
they're doing as much as they can do.
Yeah,
safely.
And like, Buck also makes the effort to like comfort Chimney, because he recognizes, like, they both know, but like, that Maddie is smart and can take care of herself until help gets there. So like, Buck is doing like a really sweet brother thing, like acting like as a brother to Chimney as well, and just trying to like reinforce that like Maddie can take care of herself. Yeah. And this is where Chimney is like, yeah, but he doesn't say this, but it's basically, yeah, I know she can take care of herself, but she doesn't have to anymore. And I think that's like, that's kind of maybe the impetus of how they care for Maddie differently, which we will see come up again in like season 5. And again, when everybody comes out of dispatch, and Buck is just kind of like waiting off to the sidelines, because he knows that Maddie and Chimney like need that moment together, even though it's probably like he's chomping at the bit on the inside to make sure that she's okay. Like, he can see that she's okay.
He knows that she's okay. I think it really was just like, I can see that she's okay, and I don't need to like run over there and be there for her in the way that he had to be with like the Doug thing, because Chimney is here, and like, that is who she needs right now, and I can see that she's okay, and I know that she's okay, and Chimney has her, so I know that she'll definitely be okay, and that's who she needs. So I really think that he's just like, I'm fine because I know that
I can see her.
and Chimney has her.
And I trust Chimney to have her best interest,
which I think has been like a point of contention, like especially like the scene was brought up when people were like discussing voices and like 809, 810, like and how or I guess just 810 and
like
how
they thought Buck wasn't doing enough.
Yeah, they were like, Buck isn't in character because he's not freaking out enough. And I was like, this is completely in character. This is like how he behaved in the Taking a Dispatch as well.
Yeah.
And I think people were like trying to say that this episode was not in character either. And I was like no, it really is, because he felt the need so badly to be there. And like, he will always want to make sure that Maddie is okay and be there for her. But like, I guarantee that if Chimney hadn't been stabbed and like Chimney was along for that ride too, like even though that their relationship wasn't romantic yet at that point, like it was just starting to be, like if like Maddie had Chimney, he still would have like taken a bit of a step back too after making sure she was okay too. I think it's like he gets that, like how it's different, needing like the support of your partner versus the support of like your family member.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is him looking up to her, because like, yeah, this is a dangerous situation and like he's always going to be worried about her. But I also feel like there are times and in other episodes too, like when I think about like season 5, when she leaves and things like that, like he does know her in a different way. And it's kind of like he has seen her like maybe handle herself. And again, like kind of to your point, she doesn't need to, but like that's also kind of how he views her too. Like she can take care.
She's like invincible, like a superhero kind of
invincible and take care of herself. Yeah.
Because that's his big sister / parental figure.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different relationship than like, you know, she doesn't show her like super vulnerable parts like that.
And those parts are with Chimney the most.
Yes.
They know her differently.
Yeah, they know her differently, and they offer different kinds of support. And they're both good, but it's like when it comes down to it, like she needs the support of her partner in that situation so that she can fall apart. You know what I mean? And break down, where it's like with Buck, it was like
she had to still keep it together.
If he was the first one to run over, she would feel the need to like hold it together and be strong for him so that he wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Which I think we kind of see when she does show up for the first time. Like she's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm visiting, and then I'm gonna go off my merry way, like kind of like trying to handle herself and not to worry her brother as much.
Yes. And she says that. She says like, what I'm not gonna do is like put my brother in the middle of this. And he's like, between you and anyone who wants to hurt you is exactly where I want to be.
Yeah.
But to her, because it's like she's big sister and
she has to protect him always.
It's like, it's such a protective, like, I have to hold it together. I have to be strong. Whereas like with your partner, it's like you share that load of like,
you can
whose turn
let
it is to
go.
be strong. So it's like you can let go and you can break down and the other person will be strong for you.
Yeah. So like the way Chimney gets to see and know Maddie is so much different than Buck. But also, Buck just didn't need to make it about himself, and he knew that. So he stood on the sidelines.
It was never about him. He just wanted to make sure Maddie was okay, and she was okay. So this has always been 100% in character for me. I don't think he like walked away and left without hugging her.
No.
But
he just let them have their moment.
Yeah. But and he didn't like insert himself to be like, yes, now I have to like make sure you're okay the rest of the day and like
hover and all that.
No.
Growth.
All right, so Eddie wasn't in this episode.
But that doesn't mean he wasn't in our hearts and minds.
And Buck didn't really do anything gay.
Super gay.
Other than exist. But we're still going to have a slow burn section because when has that ever stopped us?
We did 10 episodes of season 1 without Eddie. We can do an episode. Like,
we can do an episode because if there's one thing that we are talented at, it's making everything gay.
My God.
And about Buck and Eddie.
we're very talented.
We are.
My God.
Now that being said, it is kind of a shorter section because like
There's just not much.
there is just not that much here.
Yeah.
But I think that there's definitely some Madney and Buddie parallels because those are always there.
Those exist simultaneously.
Yeah.
Like, they coexist.
And what I was specifically trying to think of is like a moment, and maybe you guys can help me.
Mhm.
Trying to specifically think of a Buddie moment where something was wrong with Buck or Eddie that they noticed like something was up without like other regular red flags other people would notice.
Well, it was just a couple episodes ago when, was it malfunction? We talked about it
Yeah.
where Chimney was worried about Hen, and it was in Buck's loft, and Chimney was talking about how he was worried about Hen, and Buck was like, yeah, and something's up with Eddie too,
Mhm.
and nobody else clocked it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Buck kind of like knowing that Eddie was dealing with something and he wasn't letting anybody in, and it was all the Fight Club stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Because I was thinking of other things where I was like, none of them were quite what I was trying to think of. But like, I think that's kind of like the closest that we can currently compare to like the I love you moment where it's like you're saying one thing and trying to convey a message, and the other person, because they're so in sync with you, picks up on something that no one else would.
Yeah. Because they know each other on like
Mhm.
such a deeper level than
Mhm.
anybody else in their circle.
Yeah, because it's your partner or your
Mhm.
match, if you will.
Mhm.
Because you know them, like we just said at the end of the Buck section, how it's like you will always know your partner in a different way than a friend or a family member will, because you can be like the most yourself and the most open with them,
Mhm.
because there's no expectation of like different dynamics of like you have to be a parent or a sibling, or I have to be strong, or I have to be a certain way, or like not be too much. Like maybe they don't need all this information from me when it's your partner and you're equal partners.
Mhm. I think there are other examples of this as well when, after Eddie has his panic attacks in season 5. Yes, season 5. And Buck is so concerned about
Yes.
him. But
That was one of the moments I was thinking of.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
good. So there's that. And then I think also maybe as
I think 5'11" also. Well, I mean, it's not really a red flag.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
when he was in dispatch, right? And they were having
Taylor
Mhm.
and
they were
Buck over
having
in that moment
Taylor-
in the kitchen.
Taylor and Buck over for dinner, and
yes.
like you don't have to pretend with me because like
Mhm.
like something's wrong with you. You're not sleeping, or you look tired.
And
Yeah.
again, also in season 5, because he does get to see Eddie completely break down and nobody else is privy to that at all. I don't think anybody else knows that Eddie has like those kind of panic attacks and that episode. And I was also thinking a little bit into season 7 in, I think it's Ashes, when Buck runs into Kim and then he has that heart to heart with Eddie and is like, what's going on with you? I'm worried about you. And like nobody else really picks up on that either.
Mhm.
So there are multiple instances of just like
Mm-mm.
Buck knowing Eddie. And I think there's some like the other way around as well. I can't think of any at the moment, but that's what was like popping up.
Mm-hmm.
They just know each other better than anyone else because like they're partners.
And I guess another like very easy parallel is just like how concerned Chim was, and that he was following through on whatever he could do to make sure Maddie was okay and
Mhm.
was there as soon as he could be, anytime that Buck and or Eddie have been in danger. The other
In
one
peril.
is, the other one is always on top of it, of like making sure that they're okay or being there for them afterwards.
Yeah. Like wanting to be one of the first people that like help them.
Oh,
And
I have a great parallel.
okay.
414.
Yes.
And how they look at each other. How like
Oh boy.
it is so like that moment, right?
Man.
Where it's like, oh my God, and they see each other and it's like, oh, you're okay,
no.
you're okay. Because like, yeah, obviously Buck was worried about Eddie because he almost died, but like the last memory Eddie has of Buck is him being covered in blood and asking him if he's okay. So, you know, he wakes up and the first thing that happens is Anna has to call Buck. And she's in the room, but it's like she's not there, you know?
And to that point also, it's only when Buck gets the call that Eddie is okay that he allows himself to break down. Just like when Maddie spots Chimney and allows herself to break down from all of that. Just trying to keep it so locked in and trying to stay okay for everyone else. And just the moment, like the instant where it's like, it's okay to not be okay right now because they're okay. Done. So done. Even though that's not like them seeing each other at that moment, but like it's the knowledge of knowing. And
but yeah, actually I think we need to put together those two scenes for socials for this and like see the like how they're looking at each other for those two scenes because I feel like it's similar.
Like in the hospital room when like Anna walks away and is like reveal. And it's like, we know who's behind you. Like,
oh my God.
Like, why?
Oh my God.
Why did we need Anna to be the curtain? Like,
because they do that every time when someone's in the hospital.
They do that with
it's like
Athena
they reveal
and Bobby
them it's okay.
and like
every
it's
time.
Just like, why?
For the drama.
I know.
For the suspense, the anticipation.
Yeah. So what even was that? Dude, I forgot already.
They're right in front of each other.
Oh, got it.
I mean, it's related to what it's related to this.
Okay.
So just add on to it.
Well, yeah, I already said this earlier, but like just having, you know, when Maddie and Chimney finally like see each other at the end of of that whole, you know, it's kind of like they're just like zeroing in on each other, and it kind of parallels like the rooftop
in 818
rescue from 818. Yeah. And, you know, because Buck's like, oh, where are you? And Eddie's like right in front of you. And then he like immediately catches where Eddie is. And it's just like that whole, you know, and it just also feels like that's the only person. And then when, you know, he comes down the zip line and they're still like doing that whole like looking at each other thing.
Yeah.
It's so intentional. So
just like loud. Seeing each other right in front of you. The rest of the world falls away. In Buck and Eddie's case, like the rest of the building falls away.
Literally. I can actually bring back my Grey's Anatomy parallel actually perfectly for 818 because, you know,
Ravi
is hugging Eddie and he is just staring at Buck.
Oh man. Twofold.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's still so funny.
Oh, that's wild.
Just like because Buck is the person that he wanted to make sure is safe. He wants all of them to be, but like, let's be real.
Wait,
it's most important that Buck is safe.
Oh man. So I think this should have been a parallel for like the last episode actually, but there's a Madney and Buddie parallel. So like in Cell, please give me the title name of the
Brawl and Cell Block 911.
Thank you.
I always want to say Cell Brawl.
Me too.
Cell Brawl 911.
Yeah. Cell Brawl 911 block. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. So, you know, when Mark Sparkly water, fizzy water, Pellegrino water, whatever water. I think
Supernatural follows us everywhere.
When he shot, I guess he shoots himself, right?
Yeah.
And then Eddie's like having to do the CPR on him,
the compressions.
Yeah, it's well, I think it's like the Maddie and Eddie, like it's mostly a Maddie and Eddie parallel, being like the ones that are kind of like saving the day, keeping someone alive, or yeah, it really was for probably the last episode. But Buck and Chimney are being asked to. I don't know. Is this what the parallel was? I think I'm confusing it. It was something. There was something.
No, it's okay. Like
there was something. I think we could just take that out.
I was just thinking.
No, just take it out. We don't need that.
No, if it comes back to you, totally fine.
Do we have more parallels? Because if not, I'm going to talk about my thing that they should do.
Give me 1 second, because as we were just talking, I was kind of thinking a little bit. And again, I can bring this up in the next episode because it's coming up next, but I'll touch on it a little lightly and make sure that I remember to bring it back up next time as well. But with Chimney being so like on the outside, kind of it feels similar to Buck being so on the outside in Eddie Begins, especially when the rest of the 118 are treating Buck with the spouse gloves, and he knows that Eddie is strong, just like Chimney knows that Maddie is strong, but they're still trying to do everything in their power to get to their person. Ooh, so excited for that.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that was the parallel, because like Buck, maybe
was it?
I don't know, because like it was because I remember Eddie like doing the compressions on fizzy water, and then like Buck running out, but like immediately Eddie's like, help me, and like he like gets to work and starts helping. So that's where I was like, is this a parallel to like the last episode, or could it be like
their teamwork?
Buck was also the teamwork, but like also like while Eddie was still held hostage in the ambulance, like Buck was like also like worried and having to like stand around like wanting to know like when can we get him out, like and Athena is also present being the being the Buck babysitter.
Yeah, I think that, and I think maybe you were thinking, because what we were talking about was the like seeing each other and finally and like knowing that the other person's okay. So maybe you were thinking of like Buck being so worried about Eddie being there, then hearing the gunshot and really being worried and coming out, and then finally seeing that Eddie is okay.
Yeah.
And like how Buck looks at Eddie, maybe that, because we were talking about how they look at each other.
That makes sense.
And I think it could be that. And then also like I just think that Maddie and Eddie being like kind of like in these two specific episodes being, I mean, they're in the hostage situation, but like also they're kind of like the ones that are I don't want to say competent ones. That's not the word I'm looking for. The ones
like the point people.
I mean, like there's just heavy focus on them specifically, and like getting shit done, basically.
It's them being smart in a very tricky situation and kind of like getting the better of the other person, or like talking them into their own safety, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or forcefully taking an EpiPen, talking, same thing.
Yeah, so maybe
yeah,
let me help you save your son.
Being like, just shoot yourself. That's fine with me.
You can shoot yourself and I'll keep your heart alive.
There's definitely something there. I mean, there are some similarities, right?
Oh, there's a body count there. Well, he didn't do it, technically.
Oh no, now I'm thinking of Slay the Monster.
Oh no!
I mean,
technically, maybe Eddie does have a body count.
Well, I mean, he does.
Well, he does actually literally have a body count.
I see.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I have just one little thing. It's like a nothing, but I just thought it was kind of funny. This is like, at one point, Buck calls Chimney back and is like, I tried calling Maddie and I tried calling Josh, and I was like, ooh, he got Josh's number
now.
Oh my god.
And again, them playing poker was, as far as we know, the first time that they've met.
Yeah, like, the first time that they've ever hung out.
I'm like, oh, okay. No, it's just like a silly little eyebrow.
I can't do that very fast. I don't have very good control of my facial muscles.
Still funny how like they
gotta exercise them.
I think it's still funny that like Buck and Josh can be friends, and Eddie and Josh are probably not.
Are enemies?
Or reluctant friends,
so
but enemies.
Yeah. I love it. Now we can go on to.
Okay, this is not An observation. This is a request or a suggestion.
Yes.
A suggestion that we have something similar from this episode for Madney, but for Buddie in season 9. And I specifically would very much like the scenario to be that Buck is the hostage and that Eddie is with Athena.
Ooh. Switch up.
I think it'd be
Okay.
very good in different dynamics too, because we don't really get Eddie with Athena.
And we've seen Buck with Athena like multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Which we still love.
Like, I will take
Yeah.
it the other way around. Don't get me wrong. That will still be fine. But I really do think that, like, it would be such a good scenario, especially if Buck has already had his feelings realization and Buck is doing the Buck thing, which is kind of like trying to be a hero martyr.
Yeah.
And not thinking about his own safety, and Eddie, who knows him better than anyone, like, knows that is the case. It is like, I'm so fine. And I just think it would be such an interesting scenario to have him with Athena and see more of that dynamic and just see her observing his behavior.
Yes. Just kind of like an opportunity.
Especially if we have Athena and Buck roommates. This is me just writing a fic at this point.
Well, yes, we can do that here too. It's fine. But just like to have, like, I think what you were really honing in on is like have Buck and Eddie be separated by some like force, not of nature this time, but of people. You know, usually we've said we want them trapped together. We either want them trapped together or being split apart by people.
Well, it just depends on where they are on the feelings realization, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if there's no realization involved, I think trapped together. But if there is realization, then yeah, we can do the kind of hostage situation.
Especially if the person, let's say Buck, who's being kept hostage or whatever, is already going through a realization or has very recently realized, because then we could get another parallel to Maddie saying I love you out of both fear, but as Jennifer Love Hewitt said, you know, kind of in a way to say it because she thinks that she may not ever be able to at this point. So something like that, where it's not necessarily
Buck doing an I love you, which he's never said to Eddie before.
Maybe not in something similar. It doesn't have to be I love you, but like not exactly
it doesn't
confession.
have to be romantic.
Oh, I know.
But it would still shake Eddie because he'd be like, we've literally never said that to each other.
I agree.
Yeah, or I was just thinking like some sort of thing that would really alert, like, let's say Eddie to something is not right. Like something that Buck would never say, you know, like those memes on like Twitter or something. It's like, if I ever say this, that means like I'm in trouble and come save me. That kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be I love you. It doesn't have to be like a confession per se, but something to really like alert that, I think would be a nice parallel there as well. And even if it's Eddie who's trapped and hostage, that's just an extra like Maddie Eddie parallel layer to throw onto that as well. You know, I'd be happy with any of that. I think that would be really cool.
Fine. I just very specifically want to see Athena and Eddie teaming up together, because I think that'd be. I think
we really haven't.
Yeah.
No, but I think they'd work well together. But I also think it would be very interesting for her to observe how he behaves when Buck is in danger, because I don't think she's ever seen that.
No, but she knows what Buck is like when the people that he loves are in danger. So it's just kind of like blanket, you know, understanding of who Buck is in that kind of situation. But so then for Athena to be able to like see on the other side and put those pieces together would be very interesting. Because again, like even with some of the Buck NDEs, like the lightning strike, like Eddie was there, but I don't think we've really seen him on the other side of like, you know, where Buck was for Eddie Begins, where they're separated to that extent where Eddie can't do anything to help. Because even with the lightning strike, he was doing everything he could.
Yeah.
So I think we want to see him just kind of like
see Eddie in a situation where he can try and do something to help, but can't really do much, but can still try to do something.
Yeah, like has to think out of the box because he's not able to help directly.
No.
You know, I like imagine it would be like how he reacted to
Yes.
Or how he's gonna like try to keep it together. So like kind of how he reacts in Brawl and Cell Block, blah blah blah. 911.
You got it right. Yeah.
So I could picture that, but I can also picture like Athena being like, you're like just clocking everything that he's not saying and everything that he's not like emoting outwardly, you know?
Yes. She would be using her detective brain on Eddie and putting together the pieces.
Also could be a great time to just bring up the will.
Yeah. Why not? I know. Please.
Yeah,
like it has
we keep asking for
to
that.
come up at some point.
Yeah.
Come on.
I just want to actually see Athena's face specifically because I think it would be the best reaction of anyone. Because like imagine that like Buck's on the radio and like talking to Athena and like Eddie grabs it and it says something like, remember the will or something like to try and be like, you aren't expendable. You can't just put your life on the line, whatever. Like I need you to be home safe for Christopher.
He calls him Evan again.
Right. But that just mentioned the will and then like gives her the radio back. Buck is gone and she's like,
what was that?
Excuse me? And be like, if I ever die, like Buck becomes Christopher's guardian. Like I just
someone else to know about the will because I don't think anybody else knows about the will.
I can just see her face in my mind and it's great.
Yeah. I want to see Athena's face. I want to see Maddie's face. Like,
Maddie would just be like, of course he is.
Maddie would be like, it really isn't so crazy now, is it?
I really want her to mutter like, and he keeps telling me you're straight.
Yeah. I think, and I have just like one more request for like our scenario here, that it also be written by Andrew Myers because this is Andrew Myers, Cell Brawl Block 911, whatever it is. And that's Andrew Myers.
Like, and if it's heavily Eddie focused,
like, come on.
Oh, that's going to be the episode of the season.
Because he also did like confessions. He did a whole bunch.
Yes.
I said a whole bunch in
also,
another episode, but
it's been a hot minute since we've had a hostage situation.
Yeah. And when was the
last time we had a hostage situation?
Yeah.
With
Voices,
one of the
Maddie.
We had Maddie. Okay, let's not have any more Maddie hostage.
But that wasn't really a hostage. I mean, I guess I'm thinking hostage situation in like the classic form of a hostage for a purpose other than literally specifically that's a kidnapping situation to me, not a like you're a hostage because you're a key to me getting something else that I want. You're just kind of like,
yeah, there is a difference between kidnapping and hostage. I would be fine with seeing a hostage situation. Like, like we're going to like utilize you. You're part of the plan.
Yeah. Okay.
And not just like, you gotten in the way of what I wanted to do. So I'm removing you off the board. That's more kidnapping. That's what we saw with Maddie. Again, poor girl. Like, no more Maddie kidnapping.
Again, we
said
situation. This for season 8, but you didn't listen to us, so we're going to say it for season 9. Leave everyone else alone and put Buck and Eddie through it. It's their turn.
Is their turn.
And everyone else really deserves a break.
Yeah, and you know what? If you give them 2 like NDEs or whatever over the course of the season, that's fine. That's fine because
it'll help. Many everyone else had.
it'll help like push all of the feelings and the stuff and the things. It'll help move it along because Lord knows they're kind of stupid otherwise. Love them so much, affectionate, but like
Chim almost died twice last season. Hen almost died. Maddie almost died at least once. Was it just the once?
Yeah.
Bobby almost died, and then he did die, and he almost died at the end of the previous season.
Yeah. So, like,
nothing has happened to Buck or Eddie. There hasn't been a Buck or Eddie NDE since season 6.
Since the lightning strike.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is their turn, and I don't know, maybe have an episode like Jinx or Curse where like they do something and then it's all focused on them for the rest of the season. That's fine. I don't know.
Has Eddie not had one since season 4?
No, not an NDE.
Bro,
I mean, unless you consider Cell Brawl.
I don't count that.
One.
Unless you count that. Or do you count do you count the season 6 finale? I don't even count that.
I don't really either.
The only person who almost died in that episode was Bobby.
Yeah, again.
Who, oh my God.
It was
They were trying to kill him off for so long. They were trying to find the opportunity. And I think any of them would have been better than what we got.
Anyway. Oh, we almost got the whole episode without talking about the bummer of
we
Bobby
really
being dead.
did. We went so far.
Wow.
Anyway, yes, it's time for Buck and Eddie NDEs, and I think it's been so long for Eddie that he deserves to in this season.
And then we get the will brought up.
Yes.
Yeah. I also need him conscious though, because I mean, if
Yes.
Well, yeah,
They have to talk.
we don't need another
Yeah.
coma.
No more comas.
If you were gonna do it, you should have done it
No.
last season.
no more passing out.
I still stick by our theory. I think
We should have written that fic.
We were really onto something, and it
We
was
were
like
cooking.
the use of Radiohead again, and it was like, aha! We connected the dots.
we did. We, in fact, did not connect shit. Remember, don't plan an art heist.
But if you do,
Take a buddy with you.
Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast from start to finish.
We literally cannot shut up about 911, so please come talk to us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts to get a personal shout out in the next episode. The Buddy System is a Nerd Virgin Media production featuring music from Divinity.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to exclusive content in our Discord community.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.